For today's story, we are covering a case that just came out of Alabama that changed an old common law rule that I didn't really think any U.S. state still had. But apparently Alabama did, because they just changed the rule just now. They changed how long after someone injures someone, you can still charge them with murder. So the question is, you injure someone in some way and they die. How long do you have from the time you injured them until the time they die that you can still charge them with murder? There was a limitation at common law, and the Alabama court just overturned that. So let's discuss this. The Alabama Supreme Court has overruled a 2003 decision and tossed out a common law rule that's existed, forever, but not in most states. I thought every state had abolished this, but apparently it was still the law in Alabama until just now, that had barred homicide prosecutions if the victim died more than a year and a day after the wrongful act. The common law year and a day rule originated in England in the 13th century and has been applied a handful of times in Alabama courts. Okay, yeah, so that was the common law, right? You could only charge someone with a murder if the victim died within a year and a day of whatever it is that you did that would kill them. So you stabbed them or whatever. If they didn't die within a year and a day, you could not charge them with murder. This was the common law. They had to die within a year and a day. Now, most states have abrogated that. I thought all states had abrogated that, but apparently not so much in Alabama. So now they've gone from the 13th century rule to a rule that is more in common with the rest of the nation. The ruling came in the case of John Grant, a Montgomery County grand jury indicted Grant for capital murder in 2021, charging him with causing the death of Earl Darrell Mock by shooting Mock from a vehicle in September of 2017. Mock was shot in the face with a shotgun, according to the Attorney General's office. So he shoots him from a car with a shotgun. But critically, Mock was placed on life support after the shooting and didn't die for 15 months. So he didn't die within a year and a day. He died within 15 months, which is not within a year and a day. So at the common law, you could not charge murder. He died too late after the incident. So Grant asked the trial court to dismiss the indictment, citing the year and the day rule. The trial court said no, but the Alabama Court of Appeals said yes. The appeal court cited a 2003 ruling by the Alabama Supreme Court and found that the year and the day rule still applied because, according to it at least, the Alabama legislature had not specifically abolished the year and the day rule when it passed the Comprehensive Criminal Code that took effect in 1980. So Alabama has amended its criminal code many times, as one would expect. They had some comprehensive amendment in 1980, and the question was whether the comprehensive amendment did away with the old year and a day rule. State prosecutors applied for review by the Alabama Supreme Court. In decision on Friday, the justices reversed the 2003 rule and found the criminal code passed by the legislature abolished the year and the day rule because it defined murder and homicide without time element. So now, like many states, there is no time at all. So you can die within any length of time, as long as you can prove the death occurred as a result of the injury, which of course is a factual claim. But most states allow an infinite length of time, and you can still charge murder, whether it's a day, a year, 10 years, whatever. And so Alabama has said that this is now their law too. By the Supreme Court's denial of application of the year and the day rule in the murder case, Alabama is one of the last states to abolish this common law rule. I thought so. That has outlived its purpose due to advances in medical technology. Our ability to prove what killed you is a lot easier now than in the 13th century. So whatever purpose it had in terms of being like a statute of limitations kind of thing, it has long since exceeded its purpose, because the idea was, well, how do we know for sure what you died of? But now with modern medical technology, at least we're able to establish that more clearly, or that's the idea. The Supreme Court has appropriately allowed the murder case to proceed so the state can seek justice for Mock. The common law rule was established partially because of unreliability of medical science to determine cause of death. Yeah. Grant, 47, is being held in jail. He requested relief after the Court of Appeals ruling, but that was denied while the Supreme Court of Alabama was reconsidering its law. Thus, that brings us to the end of our discussion of this case and the beginning of the trial of Grant for the murder. He shot someone from a car with a shotgun, but the person didn't die for 15 months. At common law, this is a deal breaker. You can't charge murder. Basically, every state has abrogated this. And Alabama, apparently, this was still the law up until, well, just now. Although the Alabama Supreme Court, strictly speaking, is saying that the legislature abolished it in the 1980s. And they're just kind of realizing it now, apparently, whatever. So anyways, they can charge him because he died. And at least the state thinks that they can prove he died as a result of the shotgun blast, which is a question of fact for the jury using the modern medical science. So the old year-and-a-day law that we all learned, at least all the lawyers learned in law school, which apparently was still operative, is at least operative one last place. And that brings us to the discussion at the end of this story.